Pachita pavana Kumar Bine Devona Pavana Kumar Bine Devona Pachita pavana Kumar Bine Devona Pachita pavana Kumar Bine Devona Baruko Vaishnava Bhusha Baruko Vaishnava Bhusha Pachita pavana Kumar Bine Devona Pachita pavana Kumar Bine Devona Jaharani kote gele papu dure Jaharani kote gele papu dure Doyalo Prabhu Kiba Kutai Mono Doyalo Prabhu Kiba Kutai Gangara parasha hoile Paschate Gangara parasha hoile Paschate Darshane pavitra koro ei tumargo Darshane pavitra koro ei tumargo Pavana Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jayo Vaishnava Thakur. Jayo Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jayo Vaishnava Thakur. Haribol. So this is a beautiful song. Give us the meaning. Sung by Narottam Das Thakur, and he is sharing with us the understanding of how we should look upon Vaishnavas. In other words, there's an etiquette when you are dealing with devotees, how to look at them. So he says, Narottam says, O Vaishnav Goswami, please be merciful to me now. There is no one except you who can purify the fallen souls. This is true. The devotee can purify fallen people. Where does anyone find such a merciful personality by whose mere audience all sins go far away? When we get the company of devotees, saintly devotees, this is what happens. Sins go far away. After bathing in the waters of the sacred Ganges, many times, one becomes purified. But just by the sight of you, the fallen souls are purified. This is your great power. Just to see a devotee is such a auspicious thing. Go up. Who's there? He doesn't fall down. No. The holy name delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. But if one commits an offense to you, there is no means of deliverance. This is a very important instruction. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went through great lengths to instruct his followers, his devotees, to avoid committing Vaishnava aparad. He compared Vaishnava aparad, offending a Vaishnava, to a mad elephant coming into your little vegetable garden and trampling it, uprooting everything, destroying it. This is Mahaprabhu's, he compares offending a Vaishnava to something like that. Therefore he said, Narottam says, if one commits an offense, to Lord Hari, it's like every morning we recite the 10 offenses against the holy name, Nama Parad. But most serious of all is to offend a Vaishnava. Because it said if you commit offenses to Krishna, to Lord Hari, by chanting you can be relieved of that. You can be excused. But if you offend the Vaishnava, then there's no excuse. And Lord Hari will not even tolerate it. There's a nice, famous example in Bhagavad where Ambarish, Maharaj Ambarish, emperor, but he was also a Vaishnava. It said, although he was emperor of the world, which is a big job, he had time for hearing and chanting and worshipping the deity. It is said, Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. His first business was to fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. So once one sage, a Muni, Durvasa Muni, came unannounced, and he came, at the time he came was the time for breaking the fast on Ekadashi, after Ekadashi, on Dwadasi. So Ambarish Maharaj was a dilemma. I have to break the fast, but I have a guest, Durvasa Muni. I cannot eat before serving him. So he asked his ministers, Brahmins, what to do. So they tell him, like, if you take a little water is, you can break the fast, but you're not really eating. So do it like that. So he did that, and Durvasa Muni walked in on him and says, aha, you don't know how to respect a sannyasi, saintly person. And Durvasa was known to have a hot temper. It didn't take much to set him off. So I think he pulled a hair from his head and chanted some mantra and created a demon, a powerful demon, and he ordered him to kill Ambarish. So Ambarish Maharaj, he didn't retaliate. He was a Vaishnava. He just folded his hands and prayed to Krishna. And of course, Krishna is all-knowing. He sees everything that's going on. He sent his Sudarshan Chakra, the weapon, most powerful weapon, to aid Ambarish Maharaj. So that weapon came, the Sudarshan, killed the demon that Durvasa had created, and then the Sudarshan started coming towards Durvasa. It's going to kill him also. So Durvasa, he took off running. He knew there's no match. And he ran, he was such powerful yogi, he went all over the universe with the Sudarshan Chakra hot on his tail, right behind him. He went to Lord Shiva asking for, can you do something to stop this? And Lord Shiva says, there's nothing I can do. So maybe go and see Lord Brahma. So he went all the way up to Brahmaloka. Same thing, Lord Brahma says, I can't do anything. This is the Lord, this is Vishnu's weapon. Who can go up against that? So he left and he went to Vaikuntha even. Such a powerful yogi he was that he could actually go to Vaikuntha by his mystic power. And he comes before Lord Narayan. And he said, this chakra wants to kill me. Can you stop it or do something? Haribo. Thank you. So Narayan said, Narayan said, I can't do anything. He said, but it is your weapon. How do you mean you cannot do anything? He said, you offended a devotee. Only he can stop it. So you better go back. Go back to Ambarish Maharaj. And if he forgives you, then only the chakra will leave you alone. So he ran back, came back to earth, and he went to Ambarish Maharaj and fell at his feet, begging forgiveness. And Ambarish Maharaj, said, he was so pure-hearted. He said, when Dhruva said, please excuse me for my offense, he said, excuse? You haven't done anything to me. He didn't even take offense. But the Lord doesn't tolerate it. The Vaishnava may excuse you, but the Lord will not excuse you. This is the special relationship between the Lord and his devotee. So Ambarish Maharaj, he didn't even take offense. But the Lord, he took offense. Because he said, no one is dearer to me, the devotee is dearer to me than my own self. So Ambarish then told Durvasa, you can have all my pious assets, all my pious credits. So it's a very instructive, episode in Bhagavatam. How one has to be careful in dealing with devotees. And that doesn't mean only in dealing with big devotees or so-called advanced devotees. Even with the ordinary devotees, associates. Don't think, well, he is nobody and I can offend him and I'll avoid offending the big fella. No, no, it doesn't work like that. So therefore, what happened to the song? Go back to the translation, please. Just now coming. Yeah. So therefore he says, if one commits an offense to you, to the Vaishnava, there is no means of deliverance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructed his mother, Sachi Devi. He told her, you cannot get love of God, you cannot get any prem because you've offended a Vaishnava. His own mother. And she says, what offense did I do? She didn't even know. So he said, you offended Advaita Acharya. So what the offense was, when Mahaprabhu's older brother, Vishwarup, he used to go and get lessons from Advaita Acharya. And then at a certain point, he came to the realization that he knew my mother and father, they're going to want me to get married. And I don't want to get married. So he left. He ran away from home and he took sannyas. And he went traveling, never came back. So naturally, Mother Sachi was distraught. So she was sending Nimai, Lord Chaitanya, to also get teaching from Advaita Acharya. Advaita was the senior most Vaishnava in the community. He used to give classes on Bhagavad Gita. So, but Mother Sachi thought, if Nimai continues to hear from him, he might do the same thing like Vishwarup. He might want to take sannyas and run away from home. So, I can't let this happen. So she stopped Nimai from hearing from Advaita Acharya. Because she thought, she was just thinking, it's because of him my elder son Vishwarup took sannyas. So just for that, Mahaprabhu told her, you will never get prem. You'll never get love of Krishna because you offended this Vaishnava just by thinking like that. So she said, what shall I do? She said, you have to go and beg forgiveness from Advaita Acharya. So she went. So serious it is. She went to Advaita Acharya and he of course was Vaishnava Thakur also. So he didn't take offense, but he forgave her. So Mahaprabhu, there are many little instances where he taught, be careful, don't offend the Vaishnavas, because that could destroy your kripa. Our devotional life is compared to a kripa, like a small plant or a vine. We get the seed of devotional service from the spiritual master, Bhakti Lata Bij, and we have to, like a little plant, you have to care for it, nurture it, water it. We water it by hearing and chanting, but we also have to protect it. So, then he says, your heart, the heart of the Vaishnava, is always the resting place of Lord Govinda. And Sri Govinda says that the Vaishnavas are in my heart. Therefore Narottam Das Thakur concludes, I desire the dust of your holy feet in every birth that I may take. So please consider Narottam as yours and be kind upon him. So in the song like this, we can learn so much about how to behave, how to act in the company of devotees. Because in the company of devotees we can grow, we can learn so much. We can, our spiritual life can flourish, but we can also destroy it in the company of if we commit offense. So we should know these things. Haribo? You can chant a little bit more.
Hare Krishna. So we'll start the offerings, and we start with His Grace Agnidev Prabhu. I'll just next is Don Prabhu. He could speak for 5 minutes, and then the next one is Agastya. He has to leave for some program. So I'll call out the names who are actually registered. Let's start with Don Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Can you speak from here? can use the dash. You can use the dash.
Oh, that's all right. Take me a second to get.
You want a chair?
I'm good. Harivilas, my friend. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Assembled devotees, honored guests, and special guest Agni Devi Prabhu. Deva. I don't know where I got that. Somebody corrected me once and it was not right and it stayed with me for some reason. Well, we're here today to celebrate the appearance day of a very dear friend. I got a phone call yesterday from one of the co-presidents asking me to come today to say a few things about how Harivilas has affected my life personally. I feel honored that I have been asked to do so. And I would also like to preface my statements with you understanding that what he has done for me, he has also done for you. So let's not think so much myself, but that what he is doing will be my reflection of what he has actually done for all of us. Does that make sense? He could not have had a larger challenge, I don't think, when he came here in late 1991. He found himself with a temple that didn't have anybody in it, pretty much. The services were failing, and the honor of Nila Madhava. There were debts. There were rats covering the temple. After 13 years of giving whatever resources I had to ISKCON, 3 months before Harivilas came, I actually quit because I didn't see that there was any more hope that I could offer. I had gone through every monetary resource that I had. I had spent an entire inheritance. I was in debt. I was shouldering I was shouldering something that was really tough, and that was that I had suffered monetary losses at hands of devotees. And so my idealisms and a lot of my thoughts about ISKCON itself had come to a point where I said to myself, Prabhupada, you are the genuine article, but I'm not so sure ISKCON is going to be able to do this. And I had finally left as all my resources were gone. Unbeknownst to me, Krishna was working in the background and bringing Harivilas here. He came about 3 months later and decided that he wanted to actually make this work if he could. There were a couple of people that were here. Chaitanya Rupa, his family, and Raja Hari's family, and I think that they were the first individuals to take initiation at the temple out here. When I met Harivilas, I was, of course, very discouraged, and he said that he was going to stay here, and I'd heard that many times. I probably went through 8 or 9 presidents in 13 years, which was quite a bit. I didn't really get an opportunity to have association over a long period of time to really develop anything. Everything was emergency, all the time, every day an emergency. And I wasn't feeling very enlivened, really. But then Harivilas came, he told me that he would stay, and I had heard that before. But he also said that he didn't need to depend on the temple for his sustenance, and he was going to take care of himself, start his own business. So I started to listen a little bit. It came, and I saw that he was doing everything. He and his wife were doing all of the offerings, doing the cooking, washing the pots, doing what they could to cultivate new people whenever they would come. He was very serious. He got a cat, took care of the rodent problem. I thought that was pretty creative.
The cat came by herself.
So he began to build the temple. And he did so by his own devotion. And I took note of that. And as a result of him convincing me, I began to stand by his side in 1992, and have been there ever since. Result is that he gave me something more than a book to look at. Prabhupada's books are second to nothing, but I just had these pages to look at. I never really had a friendship to develop, that someone that, you know, that cared, a genuine devotee. I was looking. Harivilas began little success, but his sincerity is what took my heart and made me believe that he really was desirous of following his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. In the books that I had read, I had come to understand that devotional service was really the key to your success as a developing soul. Yes, we have the mantra, but the devotional service that's the real juice, let's say. And what you did for me, Prabhu, is you helped me to see what I was hoping was real in these books, personification in a human being who is actually carrying this torch for his spiritual master. I took that very deeply, and that is a very big reason why I stayed with you. There's something that I would like to bring out of Srimad Bhagavatam that makes me think of a depth. All right, that we can talk about the things in the community that Harivilas has done, you know, with Northwest Share, with the school, with all of these things, but they're a little bit on the outward side, and I want to address the internal aspects of what this relationship has meant to me and what he has done for me. There is a verse that says, Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda Vasudevi Bhagavati Kurvanti Atma Prasadanim. And what that means is that certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have rendered devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. with great delight, because rendering such devotional service is enlivening to the self. And to enliven the self is really one of the deep aspects that Harivilas has given me and has given all of the souls that come to this temple. When the self is enlivened, then our happiness and our true constitutional position can be realized, and then we can make progress. And I know that all Harivilas wants is to follow his spiritual master and to make progress for us. One of his styles that impressed me deeply and is one of the big reasons why I like him so much, and I love him, is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur brought forth something called Yukta Vairagya. And it is a system by which we use the material elements to glorify the personality of Godhead, to use it in devotional service. And Harivilas is an expert at that. He has been able to take many mundane things, use them in Krishna service, and then seeing other people who, you know, have not had any advancement at all, see something in that, then they eventually have come to the holy name. So he's using all of these different methods, you know, to attract the fallen souls so that they can become satisfied. And I love that part in you very much. Another thing that touched me very deeply was the character that he showed when this entire temple went through a schism that could have torn it apart. And his action, adult action, where he chose to step aside in order to make sure that this temple was saved, ladies and gentlemen, showed a very, very classy act. And I applaud that very much, as you know what you did. You saved this whole place by doing that. So, showing his love by being able to let go really showed a lot. And actually, I was jumping for joy, really, because I thought that, you know what, he's going to be able to do a lot more when he's not straddled with all this administrative stuff. So I was really kind of happy about that whole deal. And now you're working with the children. And you've been doing this for a while, and I see such a wonderful nurturance, you know, that he's doing, and he's helping to plant the seed in our kids. So this will be a lasting thing. I don't want to take a lot of time. We've got cows to take care of, but I do have one last thing that does remind me of how I feel your attitude is, and this is it. And this is from the boss. The best kind of intelligence I can have is intelligence used in the service of Krishna. That intelligence is defined as fixed when it is intent upon my spiritual master's instruction, such as chanting the names of Krishna, remembering his activities, and performing service to his lotus feet. His instructions are my sadhana and my life, both in the beginning stages of bhakti as well as in bhakti's perfectional stage. I desire only to follow his instructions. I accept nothing else as my life's work, even in dreams, whether I am happy or distressed, whether the material world remains or is destroyed. I do not care. There is no loss for me. I simply must carry out the orders of my spiritual master. Fixed upon his orders is determined intelligence in devotional service. And only by being fixed in his orders, such determined intelligence is possible. Thank you for your service, my friend. We love you very much.
Hare Krishna. So we have around 22 people who signed up already. So let's stick to 2 minutes. Don't go beyond that, otherwise we'll not be ending at 2 o'clock. So next I'll call upon His Grace Agnidev Prabhu to say a few words. If you have not spoken already, please.
Hare Krishna. Haribo. So, I knew of Harivilas, but I wasn't fortunate to get his company for many years. And after, you all may know, I had a close encounter with death. I was traveling the world, doing what I like to do, which is to chant. And when I got to Australia, my heart gave away. And I ended up in the hospital for 9 weeks. It was a successful operation. And then I came, after I was discharged, I came back to America, to Portland, Oregon, on the request of my son. So I was living with him, and he asked me to promise that for 1 year I wouldn't go traveling anywhere. I'd stay put and recuperate. Well, I can only sit around so long. But I stayed there. I thought I did pretty good. Maybe what, 8 months. And then I was, while there, some devotees from here, from this temple, they came to Portland, and I was at the temple, I was visiting the temple there, and they invited me to come here for the 50th anniversary. So I thought, well, that sounds like something worth doing. So I came here and I was really impressed and amazed what was going on. I didn't know that there was a big temple here. All the years, I lived in Eugene, Oregon for 12 years and I never came up to Seattle. So anyway, I came and I had a wonderful time. And maybe it was the day after, Harivilas came to me and he asked me if I had a good time. And I said, yeah, I mean, what's not to like? So then, just like that, very straightforward, he said, then you should just move here. Now, I've been requested to move many places, but this was very straightforward. Hare Krishna. So I asked him, are you serious or are you joking? And he said, no, I'm very serious. So I said, oh well, then I have to think about this. But I came back up for the, what was it, Janmashtami celebrations, which was also outstanding, wonderful. And slowly, day by day, I've gotten to know him better. And seeing everything that he has done here for this community, and is still doing, I'm always amazed. His mind is always thinking of the next level, you know. I can't think like that. I'm a small person. I don't have any big plans. I'm just trying to purify my heart. But it's wonderful to see how he's thinking of expanding Krishna consciousness more and more. This in itself, this temple is a major accomplishment, but he's not one to sit back on his laurels, as they say. No, he's thinking of another temple, and another temple, and another farm, and another farm. And I'm amazed. But anyway, I think everyone here in this part of this community are very fortunate to have someone like him leading and guiding. And he has a good, what you call, sadhana. This I have observed. He's up first one up in the morning. And so his leadership is admirable. So we all should feel, you know, happy that we have someone like him to lead. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So next is Gaurang Chandra Prabhu. Are you here? I'll call the names next. Gaurang Chandra Prabhu, Ayush Sharma. We include kids also in the same order. What they said they would talk to. Krishna Raheja, Agastya, and Krishna Murali Prabhu. I'll announce next batch later. So please remember your sequence. 2 minutes, please.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So 2 minutes, I'll start. So once in a while I attend Mangalarti, not every day like Harivilas Prabhu. But when you look at the text in Mangalarti, if you see the features of a spiritual master, I would challenge everyone to read stanza by stanza and see how Harivilas Prabhu perfectly fits the definition of a spiritual master. Because we enjoy the music, but if you see the meaning, we have a person Bhagavata right here representing that Mangalarti. High tide or low tide? I have seen Harivilas Prabhu in a very ecstatic mood when we were building up the temple and how the weather was so supportive and funds were coming in and it was a victory after victory. And Harivilas Prabhu was ecstatic and we all were ecstatic. And then we have seen the low tide also in this temple. But whether it is high tide or low tide, I have seen Harivilas Prabhu always focused on service. He never thought for 1 second of giving up any of the services on hand. Actually, he was more enthusiastic about it. So that was something very appreciable. I had opportunity around 10 years back to study Bhagavad Gita with Harivilas Prabhu every night. 7:30, 8 o'clock we used to get together, me, Manish Prabhu and Shalini Mataji. And it used to run for 11, 11:30, 12, 12:30. There was no end. And we used to like, Prabhu, we need to go to office. And so, but what I learned is what Prabhu gives in the Sunday class or general open public classes is very different than what actually he knows. No, not different, but level of abstraction I'm talking about. What I would challenge is, take introduction of Bhagavad Gita and see if you can show that every line in introduction is a direct translation of some shloka somewhere in Bhagavad Gita or the ancillary Bhakti Shastri books. None of us can show that. Harivilas Prabhu has shown that. Every line in introduction, which gives the faith in Prabhupada's philosophy that he didn't speak anything of his mind. Everything was a direct translation of some shloka somewhere. And Harivilas Prabhu knows Bhagavad Gita that way. If you ask Harivilas Prabhu a question, and the question could be, Prabhuji, what about this, what about that? Prabhuji will say, okay, open Bhagavad Gita, open the 7th chapter, go to the 9th shloka, go to the 3rd purport, read the 2nd statement. That is the answer to your question. So many kids will recite Bhagavad Gita, great. Many people will remember the translations, great. How many people remember Prabhupada's purports word by word? That is Harivilas Prabhu. Right? Now, all this results into something what? Utsaha, Nishchaya and Dharya. The level of enthusiasm, determination and courage Harivilas Prabhu has. I know we have seen a lot of devotees in this temple and outside in this corner. Nobody is able to match his energy level. And hence, and none of us are actually able to grasp his vision also. Every time we think we have achieved a lot as a congregation, now it is time to relax and find out who is a senior devotee amongst us. And and Harivilas Prabhu comes out with the next level of project, which is way bigger than any one of us could dream for. And so it's just easy to follow him and enjoy the spiritual journey. So thank you, Prabhuji, for being there for us and being who you are. And we beg for the blessings to become more sincere in our sadhana and service. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, dear Harivilas Prabhu, I would like to thank you for all the kid classes you give kid classes on Saturday and Sunday early morning. My commitment to you on your birthday is that I will always do your homework. Your humble servant Arush.
Thank you, Arush. Next is Agastya. Is he here?
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Harivilas Prabhuji, you are so valuable to me and everyone else at the temple because you guide us in Krishna consciousness by giving classes every weekend for kids in the morning, in which you not only teach us about Krishna consciousness, but you help us with our grammar and teach us new words and proverbs like hypochondriac and proprietorship turns sand into gold. You also give hundreds of other lectures and always participate in kirtan. Every Saturday, rain or shine, you take the food truck out to Seattle. When you are not doing work in the temple, you are taking care of the cows at the farm. You are always working for Krishna. If I had even 1% of the love and devotion that you have for Krishna, it would be enough to go back to Godhead. Thank you.
Krishna Murali Prabhu. Is he here? Okay, so probably running late. Sai Sananda. Sananda is here? You want to speak? Okay, she'll speak after somebody's. Pankaj Chopre Prabhu. Sit here. After Pankaj, it is Brajakrupa Prabhu, Pravalika, and Sreshta.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just like to echo what Garunga Chandra Prabhu said, that basically whenever I actually read or listen to the Shri Guru Ashtakam, and it reminds me, and whatever the image comes in front of me is yours, Prabhu. So you are truly representing each and every line of that 8 instructions what has been given in that, as well as the basically how a true spiritual master should be. So just to share one example of that, like recently, like for Thanksgiving Eve as well as the Christmas Eve dinner. You are fully working in the kitchen and serving prasadam and all these things. So that incidents actually remind me one line from that Guru Ashtakam, like when the spiritual master sees the devotees eating Bhagavad Prasadam and satisfied, he is satisfied. So I can clearly see that satisfaction and happiness reflected on you and your face. So you are actually a practical you truly represent the practical implementation of the spiritual or Krishna consciousness. And you are kind of a backbone of this community as well as all congregation and the temple. I selfishly pray Shri Nila Madhava for your long and healthy life, so that all of us get your longer association, as well as all the people who are deprived from your association, they will also get your association. Thank you so much.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय बुदले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य तारिणे. Today is a very auspicious day for all of us. Appearance day of His Grace Harivilas Prabhu. It is definitely the biggest celebration for us because of Prabhu being the conduit for all of our devotional service. We should celebrate it really big. Prabhu has done many projects in the service of his spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. His life is fully dedicated since he came in touch with Krishna consciousness. And he has the finest sentiments I have ever seen to his spiritual master. If you have seen the video that shared by Gaurang Chandra Prabhu recently, you would know what he feels towards his spiritual master. It was very touching to see that. Prabhuji is very simple and easy to approach, and we should be very careful taking it easy, in terms of taking it easy. While we see a lot of projects done by Prabhuji and we wonder how he has actually so much enthusiasm for serving Lord, it cannot be simply imitated. Like Don Prabhu was mentioning, there is a lot of manifestation outside, but there is an inner core within him that is actually causing all of these manifestations. And that inner development is the primary reason that if we just do objective analysis of what this personality is, then we know actually what he is. So I was just reading chapter 18 of Nectar of Devotion, where symptoms of ecstatic love are described. So Rupa Goswami mentions one of the primary characteristic of a very spiritual advanced devotee is Chittam Asrinya, which is a soft and sensitive heart towards Krishna conscious emotions. Means the devotees at that stage exhibit crying, shivering, faltering of voice. They all symptomize very softened disposition towards any devotional sentiments. However, Rupa Goswami clarifies saying that these are symptoms that can be imitated by even mundane devotees. And then he clarifies that there are 9 symptoms that a genuine Bhava Bhakta can does actually manifest. They are avyartha kalatvam, means not a minute is wasted except for the devotion service. Kshanti means perseverance, staying tolerant and patient amidst all disturbances. And then virakti, which is complete detachment and indifference to objects of sense gratification. We can see how Prabhu has left everything and staying in temple, sharing bed with other devotees. Manasunyata, pridelessness, to stay humble even though extremely elevated in devotional status. We see all of these qualities in Prabhu. Asa Bandha, hope against hope, means possess complete faith in Supreme Lord, that he will deliver one to the highest perfection. And then Samutkanta, which is intense eagerness to achieve pure loving service. Namagana Sadaguru, Sadaruchi, means constant attachment to chanting. That's what we see in Prabhu. Asaktis tad gunakyana means addiction to glorifying Krishna's qualities. Pritistad vasatistale, love for living in Lord's place. Prabhu is directly residing in here right now. So we can see all these are symptoms of a very advanced devotee. So we all need Prabhu's guidance and blessings so that we can also advance in our devotion service. And Prabhu takes every Saturday, Sunday classes. We should take advantage of it because we have to attend advanced devotees classes. That's how we can develop ourselves. And I actually attend Saturday class behind the curtain. I'm in the altar, but I was very, very inspired. Every class I look forward for Saturday because I get to hear Prabhu. So definitely I recommend everyone to attend these classes. So in the Padma Purana it's mentioned, Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samachanam. Once when Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva of all kinds of worship, what is the best worship? Lord Shiva mentioned, the worship of Lord Narayan is the highest. However, higher than the worship of Lord is the worship of his devotee. So this is the mood we should cultivate towards Prabhu. We can please the Supreme Lord by serving and pleasing those who are his dear servants. So I pray at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava that Lord may shower his choicest blessing upon Prabhuji so that he can continuously inspire more and more devotees. And I seek my forgiveness if I committed any offenses knowingly or unknowingly.
My name is Sananda. I'm going to talk about Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you have been so fun and kind by letting us play musical chairs after our Bhagavad Gita class. And I had lots of fun. If I have not been in Krishna consciousness, I would not have fun. And also, I like the classes that you tell. Your servant, Sananda.
Pravalika?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. My family and I are very fortunate to be in such a wonderful moment. We came to Seattle in 2009 and joined the movement in 2010. I'm very fortunate to have someone like you to guide us and lead us. You have all the qualities of a true spiritual master and constantly think about Krishna and service. Even when devotees stay up late for New Year's and Janmashtami, you still wake up for Mangalarti and you establish 2 Goshala communities. Every Saturday, rain or shine, you take the food truck and perform Sankirtan in the streets of Seattle. You take time out of your schedule to teach us Bhagavatam in the morning, and I truly appreciate all that you do for us. This has truly impacted me, and please bless me so that I become a sincere devotee of the Lord and perform devotional service. I really like your hard work and dedication that you put into this temple and the festivals that you organize. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Murali Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my obeisances, Prabhuji. And thank you for giving us an opportunity to speak in this occasion, of auspicious occasion of your birthday. I've been coming to the temple for about six years now. And during these 6 years, there are many times when I come inside the temple, I come with such a low level of physical, mental, and spiritual energy. I walk in, feeling tired, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. And when I walk out, after being in the presence of Harivilas Prabhu, I feel such a dramatic difference that it's like, plugging your phone into the charger. And and this happens not just once or twice or thrice, but it happens every single time I come in association with Harivilas Prabhu. And I strongly believe, and yes, it's the truth, that's because Harivilas Prabhu is being the conduit, like Brajakrippa Prabhu mentioned, he's being the conduit and being the channel of passing, Srila Prabhupada's mission and Srila Prabhupada's energy to all of us. So we feel so fortunate, Prabhu, to have you among us. And we are eternally thankful to Srila Prabhupada for, giving us such a gem as a true person Bhagavata, as somebody who's embodying all the qualities, like some devotees mentioned. You are the embodiment of all the qualities mentioned in, Guru Ashtaka prayers. You are the embodiment of so many qualities mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. As Gaurang Chandra Prabhu, there is a verse. You are able to quote a verse for every line in introduction to Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhu knows Bhagavad Gita to such an extent, but still, a couple of days back I was here and Prabhu was listening to Prabhupada's lecture, and guess what Prabhu was doing? Prabhu was taking notes, and I was so amazed. I mean, here is a person who knows the in and out of Bhagavad Gita, and he's able to quote, Bhagavad Gita slokas depending on a person's situation on demand, and yet he has the humility and the enthusiasm to follow his spiritual master and to take notes in such an eager manner. That just amazed me, Prabhu. I mean, it just shows that how much further I have to go. I mean, I'm a person, and when I listen to a lecture for the second time, I'm like, I've already listened to it once. That's the kind of attitude I have. To see you take notes for Prabhupada's lecture, that's such an inspiration for us. Thank you, Prabhu. Like Brajakrippa said, sometimes we take you for granted, or we take your presence for granted, thinking you to be one among us. So please forgive us if we've made any offenses to you in any ways. And we seek your blessings on this auspicious day to have that spiritual strength, to have that enthusiasm, to have that determination, so that we can follow in your footsteps, and so that we can take and spread Srila Prabhupada's mission as much as we can. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Krishnamurli Prabhu. We have the standard announcement. Somebody is blocking the parking here, which is 256 GLW Mazda. So if that belongs to you, please move the car right away. So the next is Sreshta, Vrajaraman Prabhu, Radha Mataji, Radha Adipalli, and Krishna Adipalli.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Radha Nilamadhav. So I didn't write much, but before we used to come to this temple, I never used to ask these questions, but I used to have questions like, what would happen to you after you died, or like is there a possibility for another life or something, like all of these interesting questions, because when you have nothing else to think about, you start to think about all of these things, but you don't know the answer. So I never thought that I would understand this at some point, but now after coming to the temple for I think it's been 3 years since we've seriously started coming to the temple and associating it with more devotees, I think I've started to understand. And I don't really know Harivilas Prabhu as much as everybody else here, but I know that whenever I come to the temple, he's not like other temple presidents who are not from ISKCON, where they just sit in an office or don't help. Harivilas Prabhu is always doing all the work. He even sweeps the floors. He cooks meals for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, which is proof that whatever Prabhupada says about Krishna is true, and that we have to take an example from Harivilas Prabhu. And so thank you for inspiring me and so many other people.
Rajraman Prabhu. Okay, he's not here.
He's sitting.
I announced next in the line already. Okay, after Rajraman Prabhu, we have Radha Adepalli and Krishna Adepalli Mataji, and then Chakrapani Prabhu.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणे वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. So I am totally incapable to really talk about personality like His Grace Harivilas Prabhu. So I sincerely express my inability that I may not do the best of what I can glorify Harivilas Prabhu for. But since this opportunity has been given, I don't want to miss this opportunity, because this is also an opportunity for me to purify myself. So working with Harivilas Prabhu for past 7-8 years as part of the festival, one thing what I observed is the quality of he is being so compassionate. The way he designs the festivals, that he's willing to engage each and everyone in spite of their own material propensity, whatever they have, like somehow or the other keep them, bring it to the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So he is, as one of the primary qualities of Vaishnava, he is a paro dukkha dukhi. Like he has so much compassion for all the people suffering in the world. Somehow or the other he wants to engage them. It may not look so being part of a Hare Krishna movement and ISKCON, when you go to the festival you see something like us mixing the spices or yoga, but that's the innovative way of engaging each and everyone actually who are not, you are so foolish in this material world suffering, but they don't know how to get out of this material world. So I really, this is what I learned about his compassionate qualities, that somehow or the other keep them engaged. So Prabhu, I just want to express my sincere gratitude and also thank you for being a blessing to our family and also to the congregation. So I want to share few incidents that happened with Prabhuji. So it was in 2014 when we were looking to buy houses, and there was one house which came exactly in front of the temple. So I immediately called Prabhu, there is a house for sale in front of the house. Prabhu said, yeah, I know. So Prabhu said, let's go. So I also brought my wife with me, and Prabhu just entered the property and he just looked at the temple from that side and say, let's buy the property. We didn't even see the house. We didn't even go inside the house, and Prabhu said, let's buy the house. So after we saw the house, it was not, many of you know that was not in up to state condition. So my wife was saying the kitchen is small, this small living room. I said, okay, let's buy the house and we'll see what happens. So with the blessings of Radha Nilamada, Harivilas Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas, so we were able to have at least a good house right now. And more than that, Prabhu, we are using it in the service of Prabhupada. Nowadays, every Sunday we have a Bhagavad Gita and a DOS class, because we know the congregation is growing. So on Sunday is a very tight schedule. So thank you, Prabhu, for allowing us to, giving the right intelligence to buy that house, because with that material eye we would have never bought that house, because you had some vision which we were not able to get it, but I can see the results that has already fructified actually. Thank you, Prabhu. And another incident. Yeah, Prabhu said that you can have darshan of Radha Nilamada every day. another incident that happened just in this October was we were leaving for Kartik Yatra, and it was just immediately after the Diwali festival. So somehow the start of the yatra didn't happen pretty well actually. So we were awake whole night to pack our bags, and when we went to airport, it was all foggy, and as you know, it is always a challenge to cross the TSA check, right, with a lot of prasadam, 3 meal prasadam. So, and the TSA agent confiscated the yogurt rice that we were carrying, and then somehow things were not showing good signs. And by the time we reached the gate, our flight was cancelled. That was our connecting flight to international flight to India. So things were not at all working. So I don't know, we were just trying so hard. We don't know when we will get our next flight booked so that we can make our connections. So suddenly my wife comes and says that, hey, this time we didn't do something right. So every time before we leave for yatra, we take the blessings of Harivilas Prabhu. So I couldn't get that. Then immediately I called Harivilas Prabhu, Prabhu, please bless us so that we can go for yatra. And then suddenly things started changing, and we were able to make some connections, and we were finally able to leave. So this is another incident that this happened maybe this summer when we got the new Gir cow delivered actually. As soon as the cow was delivered, the cow ran away actually. So we all know about that famous pastime, right? And everybody was searching for the cow, and Harivilas Prabhu was kind of just 24 hours in search of the cow actually. And everybody was trying to give their own mundane ideas. Prabhu, let's catch the cow this way, that way, and so I was also one among them, say, Prabhu, let's do something. So, but Prabhu did a thing which expresses his heart actually. He basically tapped the Vasalya Bhav. He basically brought the other cow, Gaurangi, and said that let's keep the cow here, Lakshmi, I'm sorry, to catch Gaurangi, Prabhu? Yeah. Padma. So what it shows is that we may think so many things. We may think that we are so intelligent, smart enough, but what it reveals is that Prabhu, how he was able to, that is there in his heart. That's why he's able to think a solution like that. We didn't think like that. So Prabhu brought Lakshmi, and immediately the cow was trapped actually in few days. And so that what it shows is that how much love Prabhu has for everyone, even including animals actually. So that is evidently comes out of his what he does actually. Prabhu, also being a Graham Maya is keeping me busy with my travel and work, so which is making me not to serve you to best of my ability, Prabhu. But one thing that I want to share, which is the mood of my spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Prabhu, after the initiation, we were called for, we went to seek his blessing. What is told was that what you are doing, keep doing to please Harivilas Prabhu. That is what is going to keep me happy. So Prabhu, that is our mood to please you. So Prabhu, I just like to read this verse, which is the what Devahuti discussion between Kardama Muni. The verse is Prasangam ajaram pasam atmana kaviyo vidusa eva sadhukrit moksha dwaram upavartam. What this verse is that every learned man knows very well that the attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But the same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the doors of liberation. So Prabhu, one day I hope, sincerely pray that I will have a immense attachment, you being a self-realized soul. Prabhu, please pray that you always keep us in your shelter. And I sincerely pray to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Nilamada that you have a long and healthy life, so that we seek the benefit from it, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So, I think Harivilas Prabhu, you would like to present something right now? Okay. So before that, I would like to invite the famous devotee who dances very well in the Sankirtan, Saurya.
Happy birthday, Harivilas Prabhu. We thank you for everything you do for us. Your little servant boy, Shyam Sundar. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Shyam Sundar. So, Prabhu, we still have a couple of people. So, after your presentation is okay, or okay? So, maybe another 10 people. Like, okay.
It's okay, Prabhu. Let's do the presentation.
Prabhu, why don't you give a presentation? That's what everybody says. You give a presentation, and we'll continue.
You tell them close the lights also. Bring this over here. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskati Rasatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vaishnava Acharyas ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Haribol. Yeah. So today we're going to see an interesting PowerPoint presentation about Sankirtan. This is the Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, and we're very fortunate to be part of it. And now we're going to look at some aspects of it and hear about the glories of Sankirtan, because this is the only way to change people's minds and change society. And we want to do that. We want people to give up chasing after the witch of Maya in the form of sense gratification. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita that illusion or Maya or sense gratification, he equates all three. So almost everybody in the society is chasing after illusory things which are presented by Maya and in the form of sense gratification. So how to wean people off that sick and perverted mentality? It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. We can see it in our own selves. But yet, there's a very sweet, happy, easy method to wean people off of sense gratification for themselves and direct them towards pleasing the senses of Krishna. It's called Harinam Sankirtan. By dancing and singing and having Krishna Prasadam, and also walking away with a transcendental book by Srila Prabhupada. That can change a person's life almost immediately, especially if the devotees are super kind and giving. This is what's lacking in life. When people are addicted to sense gratification, they want to take. But if we get addicted to Krishna and Sankirtan, we want to give. And
I remember once when we organized Rath Yatra, I organized Rath Yatra in Golden Gate Park with the devotees in Berkeley, and we invited Willie Brown. Willie Brown was at that time the mayor of San Francisco. Before that, he was the Speaker of the House of Representatives in California State. So he was a big politician. So Willie Brown came to Rath Yatra, and my friend Jagannath Swami was walking around, and he saw us distributing food to about 5,000 people, prasadam. And then he saw the different displays we had, and then he saw there was an altar, and Srila Prabhupada and Jagannath. And when he saw Prabhupada sitting on the Vyasasan in Golden Gate Park, he just stood there looking at him. So later on he came over and we were talking with him, and he said, I was really impressed by your guru. And I couldn't understand, how come you were just sitting there like that? I mean, and like a yogi. He said, he didn't even blink his eyes. So we told him, well, that's, you know, because it's a deity of him. He said, a deity? I said, what's that? He said, well, it's, he left this world in 1977. We were in 1980s. He said, what? He said, no, that man was there. I was looking at him straight in the eye. He was looking at me. He said, that man's there. So we couldn't convince him that it was a deity, you know. So then he got up to speak. There was about 4,000 or 5,000 people in Golden Gate Park on the part of the park that's called Hippie Hill. That's where in 1967 or 8, Prabhupada, well, 1968, they had the first Rath Yatra. And with Jayananda and Prabhupada. And that's where you see the famous picture of all the hippies dancing with Prabhupada. So he said, I'm very honored to be here. He said, all my life, he said, I've been a taker. But you Hare Krishnas, you all are givers. Now, in his way, he honored us in the best way he could. And he humbled himself to thank us for what we were doing. So, this is the meaning of Sankirtan. We show people that we're not takers, we're actually givers. We're giving the most significant gift a person can get, and that is a free ticket back to Godhead. You cannot even buy that ticket, but we're giving it out free. So here we see Nagar Sankirtan along University Way. Although I don't think this picture was taken on University Way. This is probably a picture of Agnidev Prabhu's doing Sankirtan somewhere else. Right? You know where that was? No. Yeah. And, huh? No, that's not our picture. But it's a nice picture. And there's book distribution. And there's the food truck. And there's the University Heights building. And this is all coming from Prabhupada, his strategy for Sankirtan. You have books, you have prasadam, you have chanting and dancing, and you invite people to, like we have now, University Heights every Saturday from 3 to 4 a class. Next. So here's our food truck, the only free vegetarian food truck on the whole west coast of the United States, maybe in the whole United States. And there are a lot of people waiting in line to get Mahaprasadam, served by the devotees with love. Next. And here is a quote by Prabhupada. He says, books are the basis. Yeah. So, books are the basis, and utility is the principle, purity is the essence, purity is essence, yeah, and then one other thing. Anyway, books are the basis of the Sankirtan, because if a person walks away with a book and a good impression of devotees who are givers, they'll look at the book and they'll say, look, I like what these people are doing, and I got to find out why they're doing it though, and I guess this book explains it. Say. And who can explain better than Srila Prabhupada himself? That's why we should only distribute Prabhupada's books on Sankirtan, and our whole purpose, even we have so many devotees now that are writing books, but the whole purpose should be to direct them toward Prabhupada's books. That should be the whole purpose. So he says, when I go back to that, he says, there is no literature throughout the universe like Srimad Bhagavatam. There's no comparison. There is no competition. Nothing can compete with it. Every word is for the good of human society. Somehow or other, if a book goes into someone's hand, he or she will be benefited. Therefore, we are stressing so much. Please distribute books. Distribute books. Distribute books. Srila Prabhupada. So now we know how to please Prabhupada the most. If we can organize a very nice Sankirtan, everyone dressed nicely, dhoti, tilak, everything like that, and sing nicely, dance nicely, hand out deity flowers, hand out cookie prasadam, and invite people to take a book, and invite people to come and have dinner with us with the food truck at the University Heights Center. This is a powerful, powerful way to preach Krishna consciousness. It's all positive. It's all giving. See? And you're giving things that have immeasurable benefit. Just smelling the flower offered to the deity, just tasting the cookie offered, just coming and having the dinner of prasadam served by the devotees with love, and having a book in which they can understand how to become free from the cycle of birth and death. So Prabhupada says, Srila Prabhupada Uvacha, animalistic envy exists in human society as long as there is no performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Purport in Srimad Bhagavatam 4:30-35. This applies to us. This animalistic envy will develop in us also, even though we're chanting and so forth, if we don't come out on Sankirtan. That's what it says here. Animalistic envy exists in human society as long as there is no performance of Sankirtan Yajna. So our goal is to make the Sankirtan so attractive, so enticing, so happy that people want to join us and dance in the streets. Chant and dance in the street. This is what attracted me in the beginning, because I was a musician, and when I was invited to come out on Sankirtan with the devotees, and they were chanting in the streets, I said, "This is what I want to do the rest of my life. I want to chant in the streets, you know, and not chant hubble, but chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, because it means something. It is the great Maha Mantra for the deliverance of all souls. It doesn't matter what kind of body you have, what race, what ethnicity. This can deliver everyone, and we can see it. Prabhupada has made devotees everywhere in this world. You can make devotees everywhere in the universe by Sankirtan. It's not just in this world. Everywhere in the universe. Sankirtan is going on in the heavenly planets. Sankirtan is going on in the middle planets. And Sankirtan can go on even in hell. See? Narada Muni goes to hell and spreads the Sankirtan. Through the popularizing of Hari Kirtana, or the Sankirtan movement, the Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back, and people will be extremely happy. Purport in Srimad Bhagavatam 7-11. Now, this is very important. See, Prabhupada is giving the hint. Not everybody takes the hint, because they don't have enough faith to take the hint. Just like Lord Chaitanya gave the hint, Prithviche Achayata Nagaradigrama Sarvatma Prachar Hai Bimoranama. This holy name of Krishna, which will be chanted in every town and village. And every living entity, including the birds, the animals, the ants, they will also chant and hear the chant and also take part. So Prabhupada believed that. Therefore he came to the West, where his previous godbrothers failed. They made no headway at all. Prabhupada came with this faith in the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. And it succeeded because of that faith. So we should have the same faith. He's saying, by popularizing Hari Kirtana. And that means we have to do it in a very highly organized way. Everyone, again, should be dressed nicely as Vaishnavas, with tilak on, and we should know how to dance nicely, chant nicely, rain or shine. If people see us out there in the rain chanting, they'll say, wow, these people are serious. All right? Rain, snow, sleet, heat, any condition, we should be out there chanting. And people say, look, this is serious. I got to find out why they're doing this. So what will happen if we do this? Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back. That's what's lacking today. Right now we have Asura culture and low-class people governing. That's why people are unhappy. We have to bring back this Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government. Then people will be extremely happy. Yeah. If you can make your family happy, then you can make others happy. If you can't make your family happy, how can you make anybody else happy? So the family is the seminal society, and then the whole human race is the greater society. This is my ideal of life, to form a nice group of devotees to perform Sankirtana and to distribute our books in wider circles. Letter to Guru Das, Los Angeles, 5th February 1969. So, Prabhupada wants this Sankirtan. He wanted a world Sankirtan party. I remember when it was being organized. He wanted a Sankirtan party going all over the world. And he chose his best devotees, and he took them to India first to do Sankirtan. And it was a great success. It's the way he was able to attract the Indian public to Krishna consciousness by doing massive programs and Sankirtan. And there's so many films of Prabhupada in Ahmedabad, Prabhupada in Nellore, all these different places. He organized these big conferences and Sankirtan, and he established the movement in India like that. This is the way we established the movement all over the world, whether it was Australia or Europe or the United States, South America, is Sankirtan. So we have to understand the importance of going out on Sankirtan party and having a massive number of devotees, nicely dressed and representing Prabhupada, and giving, unlimited giving to the people. Srila Prabhupada again says, the Sankirtan movement we have started offers the best process for becoming purified of all sinful reactions and coming immediately to the platform of spiritual life. Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, 2nd chapter, 11th verse. You come immediately to the platform of spiritual life by joining into the Sankirtan. That means anybody who comes and dances with us, takes a book, takes a cookie, takes a flower, takes prasadam, they can immediately experience the pleasure, the happiness of spiritual life without any preparation at all. It can be an accident. One time in Paris, we were doing Sankirtan, and there was a boy watching us. So I went up to him. I said, "Hello, what's your name?" "My name is so-and-so." And he said, "My name is George." Okay. And I said, "George, what's your goal in life?" He said, "Well, I just graduated Yale. I'm only 19, and I'm going to Grenoble University in France, and I'm going to have an assistant professorship, and I'm going to get my PhD." I said, "You're wasting your time." He said, "What? What do you mean I'm wasting my time? I just graduated Yale. That's one of the top universities in the whole world." I said, "I know. You're wasting your time." And he said, "You know, this is why I don't like guys who are religious. You know, you're always negative." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Do you believe in God?" He said, "No, I don't believe in God. But if you can convince me, then I might not go to Grenoble, and I might join you guys. But, ha, 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 you're not going to convince me." I said, "I can convince you." I said, where are you staying in a hotel?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Where's the hotel?" He said, "What do you want to know that for?" I said, "Because I want to know, because it's only going to take me about 30 seconds to convince you, so that we can go to your hotel and pick up your things and come to the temple." He said, "Look, you're not going to convince me." I said, "Okay, do you have a watch?" He said, "Yeah." "Okay, let's time it." I said, "It's only going to take 30 seconds. You know, he was getting a little worried because I was so certain of myself. He said, "Okay, go." I said, "Are you a person?" He said, "Yeah, of course I'm a person." I said, "Is your father and mother a person?" "Yeah." "How about their father and mother?" "Yeah." "And how about their father and mother?" "Yeah." I said, "What's this going to?" He said, "Well, the original person is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should surrender to him because that's the goal of life." So he stayed quiet for a minute. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I'm just thinking about what you said." I said, "Look, what I said is you can't argue against it. As long as you say I'm a person and your parents are a person, there's an original person." He said, "That's not what Darwin says." I said, "Darwin is an old fogey. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, Darwin's dead. This philosophy is alive. And if you want to use your life properly, you should come with us and learn who that original person is." He got convinced. He came. He gave up his going to Grenoble University, is getting his PhD. He became a great devotee. He opened up our temple in Switzerland, and he invited Prabhupada to come there. And he introduced Prabhupada to the mayor of Geneva and other big dignitaries. Prabhupada was very pleased. And he had a very, very great success as a preacher. So now I'm going to tell you what the secret is for success. It's not that I'm telling you, Prabhupada is telling you. It's because I learned it from him. He said, if you preach, you will be successful. And that means that if you do not preach, you will not be successful. So we should all learn to become first-class preachers. Right? How do you preach? You preach by example, not simply by words. Words are cheap. And that's why Prabhupada says, quotes the English proverb, that example is better than precept. You can say so many things, blah, 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 blah. People, they're not going to be so impressed. But they'll be impressed by your example. Right? And why did that boy stop on a public street in Paris? Because we were doing Sankirtan. We were happy. And we were not inhibited. We went up to, I went up to him, I said, what's your name? This is my name. He's a stranger, right? And then immediately we started talking about Krishna. And I gave him a simple example that Prabhupada gives. And he became convinced. That's preaching. You simply repeat what Prabhupada says. Don't put anything else there. And you'll be successful. If you preach, you will be successful. And Sankirtan is the best opportunity to preach. There's no other opportunity as good as Sankirtan, because you're going to preach to people you don't know, people who had no expectation of meeting someone like you, people who may be atheists, may be contemplating suicide, may be contemplating a terrorist act, and you can change their life. So, one time we were doing Sankirtan in Seattle, in Paris, and we were going like clockwork. Every day we would go to a different neighborhood in Paris, and we wouldn't stay on the big roads. We would go into neighborhoods where nobody's on the street, but there's thousands of people living in the apartments. And we would just chant as loud as we could. So one day we were going down the street in a very posh neighborhood in the 15e arrondissement, the 15th district of Paris. And there was a public telephone. There were no cell phones at that time. There was a public phone, and someone was in the public phone. And as we went by, he came out, and he stopped me, and he said, "Sir, somebody wants to talk to you." And he pointed me to the phone. I said, "What?" So why did he want to talk to me? He said, "Don't ask any questions. He said, just take the phone and talk to this person." I said, "Okay." So I pick up the phone, and it was a lady, and she started speaking French really fast. She said, "Vous me connaissez pas, mais moi je vous connais. Vous venez ici tous les semaines et vous chantez à forte voix votre Hare Krishna." She said, "You don't know me, but I know you. Every week you come by the same time and you chant out loud Hare Krishna." So I got worried. I thought she was going to call the police. I said, "I'm sorry." I said, No, faut pas faire une apologie. Je suis content que vous le faites." She said, No, don't make any apology. I'm happy you're doing it." So I was a little surprised. And then she said, "Last week when you came by, I was on the roof of my apartment, and I was going to jump off and commit suicide. But you guys came by. You were chanting and dancing, although there's nobody on the street. And you were so happy. You gave me a new leash on life and new hope. And I did not commit suicide. Now I want you to come up to my apartment and bless my apartment by chanting." This is a true story. This is not made up. It's a true story. And she had the penthouse apartment in that posh neighborhood. She was a very wealthy lady. And later on, she was very helpful. She helped me and our devotees to arrange a meeting between Srila Prabhupada and Cardinal Danielou, the leader of the entire Catholic Church in France. It was due to her contact. And then you can go on YouTube and you'll see Prabhupada's discussion with Cardinal Danielou. Okay? So we cannot estimate the power of Sankirtan Yajna. We don't understand how powerful it is, especially when it's done with complete sincere intent. We do not understand what an effect it has on people. But when things like this, what I just related, happen, then you begin to understand. This can change a person's life almost immediately. And we have to take it seriously. Lord Chaitanya has given this Harinam Sankirtan movement to us. We should not take it lightly. We should understand that this is the essential thing we should be doing. Going out, risking our life, spending our time and our energy, rain or shine, giving Krishna to people. Srila Prabhupada says, in this age, chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is the prime business of the devotee. And preaching of this Hare Krishna mantra by outdoor Sankirtan, he didn't say by indoor Sankirtan, He says, by outdoor Sankirtan and propagation of literature is our more important business. Side by side, deity worship is recommended, but when there is a question of accepting one of them, we shall prefer to accept chanting of Hare Krishna mantra first. This is Prabhupada putting the emphasis on Harinam Sankirtan, even more important than deity worship. But deity worship is very important also, because it helps to purify someone and become regulated. But you see, you can become regulated and purified by going on Sankirtan. It's even more purifying. Next. Srila Prabhupada says, in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's only occupation was holding Sankirtana at least 4 hours every day and distributing prasadam to the devotees. What are we doing? What is Agnidev Prabhu doing? He's going out at the Sankirtan party at least 2, 3, 4 hours, and we're distributing prasadam. Exactly what Lord Chaitanya did in Jagannath Puri over 500 years ago. And that's how he established the movement. We are not much concerned about the temple, because temple worship is not primary factor in this age. Well, when was temple worship primary factor? It was in Treta Yuga. Dwapara Yuga was big yagyas, gigantic yagyas. Huh? Yeah. But of course the yugas are switched in this particular time. So normally it should be Dwapara Yuga, but it's actually... Okay. So we are not much concerned about the temple, because temple worship is not primary factor in this age. Primary factor is Sankirtan. But sometimes we want a center where people may gather and see. So a temple is required secondarily. Again, letter to Mukunda Prabhu Maharaj, New Vrindavan, 27th May 1969. Next. Srila Prabhupada continues to say, my advice to you under the circumstances is at least for 1 hour you must all go to have Sankirtan outside on the streets or in the park. He's speaking to all the devotees who were in the BBT in 1969. He's saying, you must go 1 hour on Sankirtan. That is your life and soul. First business. The next business is completing the chanting of 16 rounds every day. In other words, he's giving a priority to Sankirtan. It's more important than even 16 rounds, chanting 16 rounds. He says, the next business is your editing. So Prabhupada's prioritizing how they should prioritize their time and their activity. The next business is your editing. And if you find extra time, then you can attend the temple ceremonies. Otherwise, you can stop these activities, but outdoor kirtan must be done, even at the cost of suspending all editorial work. That is your first and foremost business. Temple worship is not so important. If need be, the whole temple can be locked, but the outdoor kirtana cannot be stopped. Srila Prabhupada to Raya Rama Das, Columbus, Ohio, May 17, 1969. Now you heard. This is Prabhupada speaking himself. This is the importance he's giving to outdoor Sankirtan. Next. Srila Prabhupada continues. Yes, we shall base our preaching work on Lord Chaitanya's formula. Sankirtan. He doesn't say temple worship. He doesn't say Bhakti Shastri. He doesn't say this. He doesn't say that. He says what? Sankirtan. Yes. After all, he is God. And if he recommends, what is the question of failure? In other words, you want success in Krishna consciousness. You want this movement to proliferate. You want many people to become devotees. You want to have Brahminical culture. You want to have pure heart. Sankirtan. And he says, this is Lord Chaitanya saying it. It's not me. Meaning Prabhupada. He said, this is Lord Chaitanya saying it. And if you do it, there will never be any failure. There will only be success. That is possible if we simply stick to this program meaning Sankirtan, as I have done it since the beginning, namely Kirtana, preaching, kirtana, distribution of prasadam, if you do like this only, that will be sufficient. Of course, you may make the kirtana as nice as possible with dancing, many kols, many mridangas, kartalas, conchas. And if you preach sincerely, anyone will listen and become convinced. Preach sincerely. Notice that. No phoniness. You can only preach up to the level that you know. You should not try and preach over your level. Just like there was a little girl named Saraswati. She was the daughter of Malati Devi in London in 1969. And Prabhupada said, and Saraswati was only like 4 or 5 years old at that time. And Prabhupada said, Saraswati is a very good preacher. He said, she goes out on the street and stops people and says, do you know Krishna? If you don't, then your life is failure. You please know Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. He glorified Saraswati. She was going out with her mother on Sankirtan and she was preaching. Just like we have some of our kids, they're a little older, they might be the same age as Saraswati, a little older. They also give flowers to people and they say, chant Hare Krishna, you will be happy. That's the message. That is the message. And if they see the child is happy, the mother is happy, the devotees are happy. The worst thing is to see devotees that have a sour puss. That means a sad face, and when they're chanting, and they say, wait a minute, they don't look happy. If I chant, then I'll end up like that. I'm not chanting. So don't come on Sankirtan if you're going to have a sour puss, as they say in colloquial English. Come out there because you're happy, because you want to share your happiness. Happiness is infectious. It's the most infectious communicable disease in the world. Just like Prabhupada tells the story about Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin went to a dance and he had a full tuxedo on. And everyone had tuxedos and all the women were dressed very properly. And they were dancing very, let's say, discreetly. And nobody looked happy. Everyone had like that. So Charlie Chaplin went to the bathroom. And then he came out and he sat down for a minute. But little did he know that there was a nail sticking up from the chair. And when he got up, it tore his pants in the back. So he ran back to the bathroom and he was looking in the mirror and his pants were torn and his underwear was showing. So he wasn't sure what to do. So he said, oh, what the heck, you know, I can't change my pants. I don't want to take them off. So he just went out and started dancing, but instead of dancing like, he started dancing real wild, right? And all the men looked, and he was happy, and the women were happy, and they were all looking. So the men went and started tearing their pants. And they started dancing like that, you know? And everyone had a happy time. So happiness is infectious. Happiness is the most infectious communicable disease in the world. But it's not a disease, it's a cure. So he says, of course, you may make kirtana as nice as possible, dancing, many calls, karatalas, conchas, and if you preach sincerely, anyone will listen and become convinced. The potency of Krishna consciousness movement does not come from some outward showing. No. It is the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna mantra and the words of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. So now, go on and develop things in this spirit. That would be very nice. So, we should develop this Sankirtan. It's the most potent instrument or weapon we have. Sankirtan and Prasadam. There's nothing more powerful than that to convince people to be happy, to be peaceful, to develop affection and love and share it with each other and everyone. Srila Prabhupada continues, somebody once said, Sachin is our God and cricket is our religion. Sachin was a very famous cricket player in India, right? And cricket is our God. Immediately one of the ISKCON gurus corrected him. Sachinandana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our God and Sankirtana is our religion. This is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote to Brahmananda in 1969. No? What? Oh, okay, so it must be something else. Oh, it's 1974. Okay, this part of, I don't know, anyway, we erased that 16th July 69. This Sankirtan party and our book department are very, very important. They are our right and left hands. So everything should be done very carefully and in remembrance that this is Krishna's business that we are executing. Because we are doing Krishna's business does not mean that we should be less careful, but it means we should be much more careful than someone who is performing activities simply for sense gratification. That means when we go out on Sankirtan, we should not block the pavement. We should be very alert about the safety of the kids, especially when crossing the street. We should always have our eyes on the children. We shouldn't let them walk away from the Sankirtan and be kidnapped by somebody. You know, you're going on the street, especially in the U district, there are many dangerous people. We should not disturb the shopkeepers by staying in front of the shop and chanting out loud for a long time. All these things are the expertise of the Sankirtan leader, who does not let the devotees become so ecstatic that they disturb the people rather than inspire the people. We're not there to disturb people. We're there to inspire them. Therefore, we have to be considerate of the people, right? And we should not chant and bang the cartels so loud that instead of it being pleasing to the ear, it becomes a cacophony. It becomes unpleasant. See, we have to learn to chant very nicely, you know, and because who are we trying to please? We're not trying to please the public. We're trying to please Krishna's ears. So if you go, Hare Krishna, is that pleasing to Krishna? If Krishna is not pleased, how would the people be pleased? So you have to chant sweetly, honestly. You have to say, I want to surrender to the Lord. And people should feel that in the way you're chanting the holy name. Here's a person who's actually a lover of God, and he's chanting for the pleasure of God. And because God is pleased by the chanting, we're also pleased. We're also attracted to it because we see the sincere intention of these people to glorify God. So, Prabhupada says to Rameshwar in 1974, please accept my humble obeisance. There have been 2 letters from GBC men to Srila Prabhupada regarding street chanting and book distribution, and there seems to be some discussion about the 2. Srila Prabhupada has said that book distribution is more important than street chanting. Book distribution is Brihad Kirtana. It is literally Kirtana in the sense that the books are spoken, and therefore anyone who reads a book is hearing, because his books, or Prabhupada's books, are recorded and transcribed. Srila Prabhupada calls his books spoken kirtanas, or recorded chanting. So book distribution is also kirtana, and should not be considered less than kirtana. The reason book distribution is greater than chanting is because the effect is wider. A purchased book goes into a person's home and will be read by others, whereas street kirtana is only benefits those in the vicinity, those who are close to the kirtan party. So this is called Brihat Mridanga Sankirtan, the distribution of books. Next, Srila Prabhupada says, regarding Sankirtana and book distribution, both should go on, but book distribution is more important. It is Brihad Kirtana. In Tokyo airport, one boy had come up to me asking if he could speak with me. I said yes. And then he asked me, Swamiji, where do you get all that knowledge in your books? Of course, it is Krishna's knowledge, not mine. But the effect is there. So for Kirtana, book distribution is better. Book distribution is also Kirtana. A letter in 1974 to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Next, Srila Prabhupada letter to Tamal Krishna again, 23rd October 1974. Regarding Sankirtana and book distribution, both should go on, but book distribution is more important. It is Brihad Kirtana. December Book Marathon 2019, this year. Goal: spread the knowledge of happiness. Our goal is to make people happy. Kicked off on Thanksgiving and continues January 31st. So our book marathon is still going on to the end of this month. We are looking for 100 people to take a box or two each of Srila Prabhupada's books. That's already happened. We should look for 1,000. We are giving books for cost price. Srila Prabhupada. Sankirtana takes the mercy of Krishna's holy names to the spiritually dull mass of people and indeed to all living entities who would otherwise have no exposure to Krishna consciousness. So if people who have no contact with Krishna consciousness come in contact with Krishna because of the Sankirtan party, because we take the trouble to go out, rain or shine, to distribute the mercy of Krishna. So, the greatest welfare activity for all the people of this world, book distribution and Harinam Sankirtan. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll stop right there. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We have a few more people, and after that we have a cake for Harivilas Prabhu. And Sankirtan is starting at 1:30 today. Who is the Sankirtan lead? Radhika Gopinath Prabhu? Yeah, so, okay, so we have to honor the Prasadam also, so we'll budget accordingly. So next I'll call out, first I'm giving preference to people who didn't speak last year. So you all know that, right? So if you spoke last year, and if you don't have time, we'll see next year. So next is Krishna Depalli is here. Next Chakrapani Prabhu. Next is Radhanand Prabhu. Sriram. Sridhar Gopal Prabhu. And if you have time, we will continue after.
Hare Krishna. Where is Harivilas Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Happy birthday to you. So few years back, we during the Ananda Mela time, Sanjay Gupta Prabhu asked us whether I could help in the graphics of Ramayana. We have displayed Ramayana different cantos of three-dimensional panorama one, which was huge success. At that time, due to my technical skills, I wasn't 100% capable of doing that. So one of my daughter's friend who had the skill sets as well as the time, he was finishing up his bachelor's at that time. So he was willing to do that. And during that, and he did come to the Ananda Mela to see the end product. He helped doing the editing of all the graphics of the all characters. So he was, it was heartwarming for him to see the final product. And he, during this process, he had an opportunity to serve Neela Madhav. At the same time, he have read the Ramayana and he have learned most of the characters. So because of your initiation to do all this project, not only us giving the opportunity for us to serve, for our friends and relatives to serve too. So you have transformed in his life, and we are very happy to say that boy is going to be our son-in-law soon. And he had got the blessings from you personally, and there are thousands of people walking every day in here. You have personally gave the Radha Neela Madhav and the Radharani's picture to him, which is hung in his home, and the whole house is seeing him, seeing the blessings of Lord. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Chakrapani Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It's been more than a decade we have been in the association of devotees and disciples of Krishna consciousness. But it's only in the last 3 years a major transformation has happened in our lives. I think it's nothing but our close association with Harivilas Prabhu, wherein till that time it was mostly intellectual. I was actually even able to recite slokas, articulate the meaning of it. But I never actually understood what it is to be Krishna conscious in terms of leading our life. It's only when we saw the pure devotee, we understand what a pure devotee walks, feels, again intellectually till that time. And when I see Harivilas Prabhu, because I run a company, I used to think that that is one of the most difficult things in the material world. That's at least what motivates me. And then when I see him, and then I see that what I'm doing is absolutely nothing. Here he is. He's taken the perfect knowledge, thanks to Prabhupada, who has traveled across the 7 oceans to come here and then spread this message. But I can see today the deities of Radhanagila Madhav and Prabhupada, they seem more blissful and happy today because their pure devotee and sincere disciple today is here creating such an awareness in this community. So we personally have been transformed. Thank you, Prabhu. And in the last 2-3 years, our kids, we have seen significant transformation in their lives. We make it a point to attend every Saturday and Sunday classes as much as possible. So I encourage every one of you to take this opportunity to attend, because I think it will transform everyone and make it more actionable for all of us. Thank you, Prabhu. Harivilas.
Hare Krishna. Again, we are running out of time. There are more people to speak. So please really stick to 2 minutes. Or if less is also fine. And next is Radhanand Prabhu. So please start with the message directly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. His Grace Harivilas Prabhu, in this wonderful presentation, he just said that we had devotees take up to 100 boxes. Our goal should be 1,000 boxes. So Srila Prabhupada reminds me that he said that we should have lofty goals. He gave an example that we should think, the goal that he mentioned as a metaphor he was explaining is that we should chase the rhinos. Because if you succeed, then everyone will praise, wow, such a wonderful act. But if you fail, then everyone will say, well, it was so difficult, no one could have possibly done. So, in the personality of Harivilas Prabhu, I see a person who is not chasing one rhinos, but a pack of rhinos, each of them running in different directions. We have assembled here to glorify His Grace Harivilas Prabhu, and he has so many wonderful qualities. And sometimes someone who is not a devotee, he may walk in and they might listen and say, okay, so devotee could be a great leader, he could have good interpersonal relationship, he might have different soft skills. But they miss the fact, which Bhagavatam explains, is that in the material world, a mundane person might have these qualities, but they are artificially trying to develop those qualities, right? In order to achieve some sort of material goal. That's why we have so many books in the market, self-help books. But as Bhagavatam explains, Harova bhaktasya kuto mahan guno manorathena dhavati bahi. Someone who is not a devotee, all these qualities are just show bottle. But someone who is a devotee, this quality is naturally manifest, and that's the difference. So when we are glorifying Prabhuji, we see that this
these qualities are naturally coming because of his pure devotion, and that touches our heart and transforms our lives. I have a lot more to say, but we are, there's just limited time that we have. One thing I would like to say is that in the West there are temples where which we don't see a lot of visitors coming. His Grace Harivilas Prabhu has, by his potency, he has created an environment we get so many visitors, right? In India, we see that there are temples which are getting visitors for some reason, right? Maybe for cultural reason, people are visiting. But then, there are many instances where there is no engagement. Over here, we see an example that not only we have a traffic of visitors, but Prabhuji knows how to engage them and cultivate them. And, that's what is very unique. So not only to generate, traffic and visitors, but also to engage them, inspire them, and so they can all progress in devotional service. That's all I would like to say. I'll just pray that, any offenses that I have committed because of my stubborn nature, please forgive me, and I pray that I remain a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Prati janme kori asa charaner dhuli naruttam koro doya apnar boli. This is from the song that we just chanted. Hare Krishna.
So next is Sri Rama, yeah. Sri Ram Prabhu, and then Sridhar Gopal Prabhu, and then the last is Krishna Raheja Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I don't have much association with Prabhuji, but still I would like to speak a few words of gratitude. So I feel like this material world is like a terrible ocean, and like each one is on his own to cross to the other shore. And this ocean is like so terrible, like it's dark, there are like waves of like high tide, like the water is freezing cold, and like there are like little sharks biting like your feet. And then like when you're like hopeless and you don't see like any hope in like any direction, then suddenly you see like a huge steam engine ship, like which is like Srila Prabhupada, like crossing over. It's like that ship, not just it takes like tens of thousands of people. All you need to do is like get onto that ship, and that from that huge ship comes like small little rescue boats, like our dear Harivilas Prabhu and like our Agnidev Prabhu. Those rescue ships, they're more merciful. They go out in like all other directions, looking out for people who have missed the big boat. And I'm like fortunate, we are very fortunate to have like our rescue boat of like Harivilas Prabhu in Seattle. Yeah, thank you very much. Happy birthday.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance, Anglo-Shri Prabhupada. I am not eligible to glorify you, Prabhuji, but this is an humble attempt at your lotus feet. I am not eligible to glorify His Grace Harivilas Prabhu, but this is an humble attempt at your lotus feet, Prabhuji. When we first came to temple in 2011, we were inspired by listening to His Grace Harivilas Prabhu's Sunday evening lectures, ecstatic kirtan, enthusiasm, and kindness in serving prasadam to thousands of people with love. In the year 2015, we got the opportunity to be part of this parampara system with the blessings of His Grace Harivilas Prabhuji. And I would like to recollect one incident which happened a couple of months before. I was helping His Grace Harivilas Prabhu in one early morning while Prabhuji was cooking prasadam. I was washing rice and Prabhuji was standing next to me. When I was moving rice from one part to other part, there are few grains of rice fell down while washing. Prabhuji observed and looked and took those rice grains back to the pot and said, "Prabhu, please don't waste rice." I was really surprised how Prabhuji sees and looks for perfection in everything. The same perfection we can see when Prabhuji is cooking prasadam with transcendental mode. The same perfection we can see when Prabhuji is serving prasadam to devotees with love. The same perfection in teaching kids during weekends with the determination to cultivate knowledge in the growing minds. The same perfection in doing ecstatic kirtan for hours, the same enthusiasm till the end of Harati. The same perfection we can see when Prabhuji is immersed in teaching Lord Krishna's or Lord Ram pastimes and his eyes filled with pure devotion, talking through tears. The same perfection when Prabhuji is planning in terms of ever increasing new projects and going to the public through Sankirtana to give Krishna consciousness to everyone. We are so fortunate and blessed to have you, Prabhuji, as our Siksha Guru. And we would like to thank you, Prabhuji, for giving us the opportunity to serve you, to serve Guru Maharaj, and serve Srila Prabhupada's mission, and to be part of the Parampara system. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Haribol Prabhuji, happy birthday. So I would like to say something about Harivilas Prabhu. Dear Harivilas Prabhu, I want to say thank you for all the things you are doing for the community as a guru to help us advance in Krishna consciousness. This time with you is very precious, every second of it. You treat me like a father, and your association is the best anyone can have. You teach me new things and life lessons that help me advance in Krishna consciousness and how to deal with things outside of Krishna consciousness like school. Without you, I would not be worth anything. But when you helped me understand the scriptures, I have realized the true meaning of life thanks to you, and I now know the meaning of life is not to play video games and earn money, it is to follow Krishna culture. So, I just want to say thank you for all that you are doing to help the community advance in Krishna consciousness, all the time that you are taking to give us classes to open our eyes from this material cataract of sense gratification.
Hare Krishna. That concludes the people who didn't speak last year, but we have a huge list of people who want to speak again. But we have some other presentations going on. So the best is to, I think you all can write and share your offering with Harivilas Prabhu directly on the email for the people who didn't get chance. But these people we'll give next year's chance. So right now we have a presentation for 7 minutes. That's what Radhika Gopinath Prabhu promised. So he's going to start exactly. People at the 7th minute, people say Hari Bol. Okay, it has to stop because we have to have kirtan, we have to have prasadam. So that's important, and we have also cake here, right? We all want to eat cake too. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible to everyone? So here is a little background about Harivilas Prabhu. This font is a little small, but we'll come into more details. His Grace Harivilas Prabhu was born in Philadelphia in Jan 5, 1946. In 1968, he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and then studied from 68 to 69 at American University in Beirut. Then in 69, he moved to Paris and met devotees in July 69. He moved to the temple in Lundy Beauty Place. And later he returned to Paris and opened the first temple in Paris, the formal temple. When he first met the devotees, there was no temple in Paris. And in June 1970, he got initiated, and then he became the temple president. He invited Srila Prabhupada to Paris in 1971 to the first ISKCON temple inauguration in France. So that is how many years now? That is 48 years ago. So you know he's been here doing a lot of things for a lot of time. So the Paris Yatra, he got married in 1973, and he stepped down from the temple president briefly to focus on Grihastha activities. And then he started a business called Spiritual Sky, which was incense and all the devotional paraphernalia. His Grace Harivilas Prabhu took to the president responsibilities again in Paris in 1979. He opened a new temple building in downtown Paris and remained president there until 1981. And then he supported the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust publishing activities. He started the Middle Eastern BBT between 1981 and 1988 and managed it until 88. He guided people in the translation of the Bhagavad Gita, Beyond Birth and Death, Upanishad, and then coming back in Armenia and printing books with his own funds. Similarly, translation and printing of Upanishad and coming back in Turkish and coming back in Arabic. Coming back is a very important book, a small book that you should read and distribute on the streets. His Grace Harivilas Prabhu also made donations for printing the Gita Argan in Bengali. He also gave donations and printed books in Swahili, Japanese, Urdu, and Oriya. This is all like way back in the 80s. He spent hundreds and thousands of dollars distributing these books. Now he gives 50% of his income for Krishna consciousness activities. He has a thriving business and he follows Rupa Goswami's philosophy of distributing 50% of his income for devotional activities, which we should all learn. So Berkeley, California, this is a new phase in his life. Prabhuji became GBC in 1988, so he moved from France down here to Berkeley, California, when the temple was in foreclosing proceedings, which means the temple was about to be shut down. There was mismanagement. So he served as a temple president and GBC for 4.5 years, during which time he paid off the mortgage just in 4.5 years. Hari bol. He also completely renovated the entire temple building inside and out. When you go to California, you should see it. It's a very, very beautiful temple with a lot of artwork, more so than our temple. We are getting there too. Eventually, we'll have much more beautiful artwork inside. In 1991, His Grace Harivilas Prabhu moved to Seattle because the temple in Seattle now is in trouble. So he's like parachuted wherever there are problems. Initially Paris, then Berkeley, and then Seattle. The temple was in the process of being shut down, and the deities were planned to be moved to Alachua, Florida. So he prevented that from happening. He expertly managed the temple congregation and paid off the old temple mortgage in 2004, the old building that we used to have here. So between 2004, when most of us started coming, we started raising funds, and initially when we raised the funds for $1.5 million, we exceeded our goal and we generated more than $1.5 million. Then we said, oh, we'll now go build a $4 million temple. That's how we have this grand building here. So by 2008, he completed a brand new temple costing $4.5 million. And then there was a developed community of 50 initiated devotees and significant congregation. Today, that number of initiated devotees has crossed north of 100 initiated devotees. Yes, we paid off this temple too last year. In 2010, he became the GBC of Phoenix and helped secure that temple from outside influence. There were some other cross-cutting influences from other individuals, so he stopped that. From 1988 onwards, he helped the Vancouver temple to free itself from the damaging influence of certain individuals. So now that temple is back on track. Eventually, in 2006, he organized the payoff of the entire mortgage amount in that temple. In 2011, he became GBC for Hawaii and worked to stabilize that temple, and which has experienced difficulties over the previous 8 years. So over a period of 4 years, he basically rescued Vancouver, Phoenix, and Hawaii temples, and then paid off our mortgage. Then His Grace Harivilas Prabhu has 6 children with his wife, Her Grace Parijata Mataji, and he has been living as a Vanaprastha since 2003. For the most time, he actually lives in the temple. All his children are grown and are independent, and His Grace Harivilas Prabhu has also applied to be put on the list of becoming a sannyasi and an initiating guru. So the paperwork has gone about 6 or 8 months ago to the GBC so that he becomes an initiating guru. So continuing on, here is a beautiful picture from the Mangalarti in 2008 when we first opened the temple. Move on to the next. Yeah, every day is a festival at Vedic Cultural Center. I recall, like, we were doing temple magazines back in 2010 and 11. We had 158 events, and we only have 365 days in a year. So that's like an event every other day. People are tired, but people are also ecstatic in doing these festivals. Just like this, a few days ago, we had the Mahamantra Yajna on New Year's Eve, and people were continuously coming. At any given point, we had close to 150 people in the room chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Most people did 1 round, several people did 10, 15, 16, 20, 25 rounds. And then in February, we have Festival of Colors, Gaura Purnima, 4th of July, Ananda Mela, Janmastami, Flavors of India, Kirtan Retreat. Northwick Forest Life Festival, Redmond City Lights, so on and so forth. There are many, many more mini festivals that we do on a regular basis under his guidance. So from a preaching activities perspective, we have Sankirtan and free food truck that you all know, value-based education through Synergy International, first Goshala, then the second Goshala. We have close to 20 cows right now across 2 Goshalas, multiple Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and device courses running around greater Seattle region. We have 15 teachers and 15 concurrent classes going on. And then we celebrated the 50th Golden Jubilee celebration. It is said in spiritual circles that if any organization survives 50 years, it means it will go on for the next 2,000 years. That was said about Christianity, and that will be said about Hare Krishna 2,000 years from now. So for combined attendance for all of our festivals is over 50,000 visitors every year, and over the last 10 years we distributed 1.5 million plates of free prasadam. So hopefully I can wrap it up in 7 minutes. Cow protection started in the Redmond Goshala. I think we covered all of this. So we have 30,000 gallons. I don't know who computed this, but one of our devotees computed 30,000 gallons of A2 grade pure cow milk over the last 5 years. So moving on to conclude. Here is a Sankirtan in Ellensburg, Washington. You'll see me in the background, away from the Sankirtan in a green jacket, but my son is there representing me. Mahanagar Sankirtan in Westlake Plaza, Seattle. All of the kids, actually kids are taking over, which is a very good sign, so that the knowledge is getting transferred over to the next generation. You have Westlake Plaza, many more events other than the primary Sankirtan, Pioneer Village programs, Festival of Compassion, we did 2 of them, many more to come. Leading the Nagar Sankirtan in University District, Seattle with all of the devotees. Sankirtan training in Sammamish. Again, you will see a lot of familiar faces there. Seattle U District Sankirtan near the Bank of America. If we don't go back, the bank will go back to Godhead. Again, this is one other day of the Sankirtan in University District, Seattle. Our ISKCON Seattle history has really changed with the arrival of His Grace Harivilas Prabhu. So the turning point happened in 1989 to 2000. With that, I conclude in the interest of time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. So now we would like His Grace Harivilas Prabhu to come, and we will actually have a cake cutting ceremony here. And it's our opportunity to sing Hare Krishna to him, right? And if you would like to start a kirtan, you could start a kirtan right now. And then after that, we're going to honor Prasadam. I'm sorry, there are many people who would like to speak, but there are many people who didn't get chance last year. So we'll be, you have to be like this. But you all can write to Harivilas Prabhu what your offerings are, and that will be a good thing to do. Hare Krishna. Kids can come first because you are. And Hare Krishna. Stand in such a way people can see Harivilas Prabhu. Leave a gap in between. Leave a gap between here. Samarth, can you leave a gap? You want to sing Hare Krishna to you? Sing Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's start singing.
You're gonna burn
No, I'm just going to sing Hare Krishna to you, right? Then Kirtan. Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna, dear Harivilas Prabhu, Hare Krishna to you. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Let's everybody face that way, and we're going to take a picture of everyone. All right. All right, and in this, whoever's in this row, move up forward and sit down. Move up forward and sit down. No, they can't sit here. They can't sit here. They're you go up forward and sit down. So it's yeah, and then. So everyone face this way. Some people on the front can sit down. Just turn around. Okay, who's going to take the picture? Okay. And also come, Suchi.
Do you want tough picture?
There's a knife. Careful. Happy birthday. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Everything got resolved, Prabhu. Yeah. So it was, they had other issues. That
okay, let's everyone's people sit down in the front.
Plus they had other issues. So they said, not ours.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
Even though we lost 40, 50 people that day in my group, that's okay.
Sit down, Arjuna, sit down.
And we got
okay, now.
Now we started one more batch.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari, come here.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. So I want to thank everybody. There was a lot of things said today. We're going to make those things mean something more and more by developing our Krishna consciousness, developing purity of mind, purity of desire, purity of actions, so that many hundreds and thousands of people in the Seattle area can become Krishna conscious. That's our goal, hundreds and thousands. That means each one of us has to chant more sincerely, has to be more strict about following the regulative principles, and learn as much as we can about Krishna so we can answer people's questions and also give out as much as possible prasadam, flowers, incense, whatever has been offered to the deities, so that people have some connection to Krishna. And I hope today a lot of people will come out on Sankirtan. We'll start a new wave of Harinam Sankirtan in the Seattle area. Haribol. Thank you very much. And please enjoy prasadam now. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prasad.